Hello and welcome to another episode. In today's tutorial, I will be teaching you how to add colors into your CSS code. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so to get started in this chapter, please go to w3schools.com and make sure you have opened the file that we have been working with, which is the same CSS file we have created and we've worked with so far. Now, I already have this open, and I also have opened my Visual Studio Code here. Now I want you to go to W3 Schools into the CSS color section and go into the first option, which says colors in here. Okay, now I have already added some colors previously into our page, and as you can see, we already see it in here, but I want to specify actually how you can add the colors because there are certain ways to do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and read a little bit first. So it says here that colors are specified using predefined color names, you know, like black, orange, purple, you name them, right? Or you can also use RGB, HEX, HSL, RGBA, HSLA. So those are some other values that you can use to add colors into your website. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first and the most easy one to use into your CSS code, which is simply color names like tomato, orange, Dodger blue, etc. So to do this, the first thing that I want you to do is go to your Visual Studio file, and we're going to delete all the colors that we've added here so far and all the styling that we've added to this document. So select everything, and I'm going to erase this, okay? Now, I'm going to hit save, and when we go back to our welcome page and I hit refresh, you see now we do not have any type of style. So first thing we want to do is to style all our H1 into, let's say that we want to put all the colors to them. I don't know, let's do a background color of black as we had them before. So remember how to do that using selectors, okay? So we're going to use an H1, and we're going to open here the syntax, and we're going to say that we want the background color to be, okay, to be black. I said black before, so we can go ahead and we can use the color black. So I'm going to hit save. Now I'm going to hit refresh. Now, as you can see, the letters are not shown because the letters are also black unless I highlight them. So let's use another color, else we're not going to be able to see the letters. Let's use pink instead, okay? So let's put here pink, save this, and let's hit refresh. So as you can see, now we have added pink into our H1, all our H1s, okay? So that's the first way that you can add colors, right? Using the normal color name. Now let's take a look at the second option, which is RGB. Okay, so to go ahead and get started with RGB, I want you to click on the RGB section. There's really not much else that I want to show you how to style here, because really, I mean, as you can see, we can definitely just input whatever we want. Oh, maybe something that I do want to clarify here is that to add colors to your text, because right now we've added colors to our background, to add colors to our text, you just have to delete the word background, and you just have to input color. And let's say you want to put all the letters inside of H1s, right, in pink. So I'm gonna save this. I remove the background color. So now I'm going to go back to our welcome page, and I'm going to hit refresh. Okay, so see, now there is no background color, and our font size, and actually our font color has changed to pink. So that's how you can switch between background and the actual text inside of the H1. Okay, so just wanted to clarify that. Now we can also add a background color again here, and let's go ahead and let's do the background now in black, because I'm pretty sure that now that the letters are in pink, we will be able to see them. So I'm going to hit save, and I'm gonna hit refresh, and there you go. Now we have the text in pink and we have the background color in black. Okay, so I hope that was self-explanatory. If not, you can always leave your questions in the comment section below. Okay, so let's move to RGB. So what is RGB? RGB stands for red, green, and blue. So let's read a little bit here. So each parameter, red, green, and blue, defines the intensity of the color between 0 and 255. Okay, pay close attention to that because we're going to be using that in a moment. Now, let's say as an example that, that you have an RGB of 25500, and this is displayed as red. This is because red is set to the highest value of 255, and then the others are set to 0, meaning that red is going to be the color that you're going to see here. So let's try it out. Okay, we're going to copy. Well, actually, let's go ahead and do it from scratch. We want to change, let's just remove the background color, and we're only going to leave the color in pink. Now I want to change this to RGB. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do that. I remove the background color. I'm going to input here on RGB, and I'm going to open parentheses. Make sure that there is no spaces between the parentheses and RGB, because else your code is not going to work. Okay, so we said that we're going to define red as 255, and then we're going to say that green is 0 and blue is 0, right? And make sure to close this syntax. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to hit refresh. So you see, now all letters are in red for H1. Now what happened if I want to add all H2 tags? Actually, I want to change all H2 tags. Let's do that, H2. We're going to open this up, and I'm going to color them. I want to make them blue. Well, what you have to do is put an RGB of 250, well actually red now it's going to be 0 because we don't want it in red. We're going to actually do this in green. So green is going to be 255, and now blue is going to be 0. Okay, so now we're going to hit save, and we're going to hit refresh. So see, all H2 tags now are in green. And finally, we're going to color the P tags. Okay, now the P tags, we want them in blue. Okay, so now we're going to say P, all of them are going to be color, and then we're going to use an RGB, and we're going to open 0, 255, I'm sorry, 0, 0, and then 255. Okay, I hope this is making sense to you. If not, remember to leave your questions in the comment section below. But I'm just teaching you right now why exactly is it that we use each parameter, and what does each parameter does into each code. Now here I left a space, so I'm going to make sure I don't leave any space here. Okay, so let's hit save, and now I'm going to hit refresh, and there you go. Now all the letters are in blue. Okay, so it's as simple as that. That's how you use RGBA colors, and you can go ahead and actually play around with this even in the W3 School page. If you see here, we can change green to be 0, blue to be 0, and it only leaves this in red. Now if we leave red in 0 and we only turn on green, now we have the parameter 0, 255, 0, right? And same thing if we turn green to 0 and we go ahead and we put blue to 255, now we're going to have a blue color, right? And the parameters will be 0, 0, 255. Okay, so that's how you use RGB colors. Now here, if you want, you can go ahead and actually play around with this. Like if you change all parameters, you want them to be gray. You see, like you have to put them almost at the middle of each section. So go ahead and play around with this on your own, and we're gonna move to the next option that you have to add colors, which actually we can use RGBA. Okay, and A, it stands for an alpha value. Okay, so RGBA. So what is RGBA? It's the color. Color values are an extension of RGB, and color values with an alpha channel, which specify the opacity of a color. Okay, so this is the alpha. So with RGBA, what we're going to do is just add an alpha parameter that is going to define the opacity of your color. So let's go ahead and take a look at this into our red. So I'm going to add the letter A at the end to make it RGBA. And then after the last parameter, I'm going to add a comma. Now, very important, the opacity, the parameters will be between 0 and 1, okay? So being 0 fully transparent and 1 not transparent at all. So that's what we're going to do right now. So 255 0, 0, and let's do this half transparent so you can see it. So it's 0.5, okay, in the middle. I'm gonna hit save, and now this red H1s will be turned into kind of transparent but not too transparent. Okay, so let's hit refresh, and there you go. You see how it changed? Now it's kind of transparent. Now if I want them to be fully transparent, then what we're gonna do is just go ahead and put, instead of 0.5, we're going to put 0 here. Let's hit save and let's hit refresh. Now the letters disappear because they are fully transparent. So that's what RGBA colors do. You can go ahead and you can actually play around with the opacity of each color. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's put the opacity to 1. I'm going to hit save. Now this is going to make it go back to red because there is no opacity. In other words, 1, it's not transparent at all. Okay, so that's what RGBA does. You can also go ahead and you can play around with this, with the colors of RGBA here in the same website. I hope this is helping so far, and that's all I have to say with RGBA colors. Okay, so now let's go to the next one, HEX. HEX colors. So HEX value in CSS, it means that a color can be specified using an hexadecimal value in the form, which typically starts with a hashtag, and then you will use letters. Actually, it's going to be a combination of both letters and numbers, where RR is red, GG is green, and then BB is blue. These are hexadecimal values between 00 and FF. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing like RGB, but this is in hexadecimal values. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's play around with that into our code. If you want your code to be red in here, you have to color FF. Okay, so let's put green to 0, blue to 0, and if you want to have a red color, this is going to be what you're going to be using into your code. So let's go ahead and let's try this out so you can see it. I'm going to delete the RGB color. I'm going to delete this one as well here. And I'm also going to delete the one on P tags. Okay, so I'm going to hit save and let's go back to the welcome page. Now nothing has a color. So let's go back here and let's use the HEX values. Okay, so again, to use HEX, you can even, if you don't want to do it in your code, you can even try it here in W3 Schools, and it's going to show you exactly what is it that it's going to, or how is it that it's going to look like using the code, because this is the code right here. Anyways, let's just do it into our code so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so into our code, we have all H1s and we want them in color red, right? Now, for it to be color red, we've said that the hexadecimal value is going to be hashtag FF and then 4 times the number 0. I'm simply going to just copy here this and I'll paste that in here. Okay, and then I'm just going to close this. I'm going to hit save, and now let's refresh. And there you go. You see now all letters are red. Now, if you want to do the same thing here for, let's say we want to use green, same thing, okay? And green is FF, and then blue will be 0, okay? So let's use that one. Copy this with, remember to use the hashtag, else it's not going to work. Okay, so now this is going to be green. I saved it. Let's refresh. Okay, H2 tags are green. And finally, the last color, which is going to be blue. Now, if we want to use blue, we're going to put here FF. and obviously this is going to turn to 0. So the value will be this one right here. So let's copy that and let's make all paragraphs blue. Let's hit save and let's go back to refresh. And there you go. Now all P elements are colored in blue. So that's it for HEX colors. And in fact, if you want shades of gray, they are defined using equal values. Okay, you have to actually find them out in either using a tool like Adobe Illustrator, and I'm going to give you here a tool that you can use to find colors in the web and see what their values is in HEX or RGB. Okay, so that's all I have to say so far for HEX. Now let's go ahead and let's move to our next color, which is HSL. Okay, now let's click on HSL here, and let's go ahead and read a little bit. So in CSS, a color can be specified using a hue, saturation, and lightness, which that's what HEL stands for in the form. Okay, now hue is a degree on the color wheel from 0 to 360. Okay, that's the parameter, we could say. Then 0 is red, 120 is green, and 240 is blue. So remember, the degrees are from 0 to 360. So the saturation percentage value, 0% means a shade of gray, and 100% is the color in full. Lightness is also the percentage, 0 black, 50% is neither light or dark. So in other words, let's take a look and let's see how we do this using the actual HSL. So we're going to do some experiments. This is nothing like RGB. It's actually something a little bit different that you can go ahead and you can actually play around here. Okay, so how do you play around with this? With the lightness. Okay, that's how you're going to make the colors look dark or light. And you're going to determine the colors in here as well with percentages. So here are just a couple of examples in what the percentages will be if you want the color to be red. Okay, so we definitely want to make this go 0, and then this is going to be 100, and to make it red we'll have to be here at 50%. Okay, so let's go ahead and try it out in our code. So let's go ahead and erase all the HEX all the HEX information, and we're going to use now HSL. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so first thing we want to try is, well, first we want to save this so you can see there's no style in here, and that's it. Color is gone. Now we want to try out the colors, so let's start with HSL. I am going to copy this, okay, and then I'm going to put the HSL color in here. Again, make sure there's no spaces between HSL and the parentheses. If you do that, probably this is not going to work, okay, so no spaces. Okay, so let's turn all H1 in red. Hit refresh, and there you go. All H1s are in red. Now, let's go ahead and let's do the other ones in green. So here we have all the values that we use for green. Okay, and finally we are going to set the last one to be blue. Okay, so I'm going to simply copy this and paste it. So remember we use HSL in here to use the percentages. Okay, and percentages are done in the second and the third value, not the first one. Okay, so let's hit save, and now I'm gonna hit refresh. Whoops, I'm sorry, it wasn't here. It's actually, I got confused, it was in my website. So let's hit refresh, and there you go. So now H2 tags are colored in green, and then we have in blue all the P tags, okay? Now that's why you will use HSL colors, but most importantly, let's go ahead and take a look at HSL, which is kind of similar like RGB because it has an alpha at the end, which is going to say how the opacity is going to work out. Okay, so this is the HSLA value. Okay, it has It has the alpha here assigned. So same thing, the alpha works from 0, which is fully transparent, to 1.0, which is not transparent at all. So if we want to make the paragraph, the first H1 colors go to 50% transparent, we just use 0.5, we hit save, and you're gonna hit refresh here, and there you go. Now it's kind of transparent. If we want it to be fully transparent, then we use 0. We save this, and as you can see now, it's fully transparent. And if we don't want to make it transparent at all in HSL, then we use the value 1 or 1.0. It'll work as well. Hit refresh, and it'll go back to normal red. Okay, so that's HSLA. I know I'm going a little bit fast, but if you have questions, remember you can always leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to help you out. Now, there's only one more thing that I want to share with you guys and teach you about colors in CSS, and that is the opacity can be used via a property as well. So you can go ahead and you can scroll down all the way to CSS Advanced, and you can go to colors. Okay, and in colors you're going to have a little bit more of information about RGBA colors, also HSLA, and if you want to study this, make sure you can do it at your own time, but I'm just teaching you the basics. It's up to you to learn a little bit more. Okay, now what I want you to learn here, you have to scroll all the way down in CSS Advanced Colors, and you will go to the opacity property. Okay, this is going to set the opacity of the whole element, both the background color and the text at the same time. So let's try this out. So we are going to try this out in our code, but first you need to make sure that the opacity that you're setting up is going to be something that you're going to be able to take a look at. Okay, so let's take a look at here some examples. We see that the opacity was applied to the red color, which is an RGB, and it was given an opacity of 0.6, then to green, and then to the blue colors, as you can see in here. Actually, if we hit try it yourself, you will see all the opacities here. So you see? Now, this is to the background color. This is because we had a background color. Now let's go ahead and let's do that into our code. Okay, so I want to add a background. Well, first thing we have to do is close that syntax, and then we are going to apply a background color, and it's going to be black. Okay, now this background color is going to have an opacity, and we're going to, let's make actually the background color. Let's eliminate the color completely from green, and we're going to make the background color look, I don't know, let's say purple. Okay, let's do purple, and I'm going to hit save. Let's see if that was changed. Okay, there you go. So now we have a background color of purple, just applied to the background, as you can see. Now the opacity is going to be applied, remember, for both the text and the background. Now, so you can see this, let's go back to our code, and I am going to add the opacity, and I'm going to set it up at actually let's do 0.6% as the example, and I'm going to hit save. Now when I hit refresh, you see, now the opacity has been applied to both the background color and also the text, because as you can see, the text is not black. It's actually kind of transparent as well. So that was the last thing I wanted to show you with colors, that you can also add the property called a property called opacity that is going to also help you to make something, both actually text and background, fully transparent or half transparent or whatnot. That's going to be totally up to you. Okay, and as a bonus on this video, I want to add a tool that you can definitely use in order to acquire colors or get the colors RGBA, HSL, and so on from different websites. So let's say that you are going to a different website. I don't know, let's say that you're going to Google Images. Let's go to Google, and let's just look for colors in Google, right? And let's say that you were Googling around and you found this palette of colors, and let's say that you want this color right here in your website to be the background color of all this H1. Right? But you have no clue what's the RGBA for it, or you have no clue what's the HSL for it. So if you want to get that information, you can definitely use a tool, actually is an extension, which is called Eyedropper, and you can install that free in your Google Chrome browser. I already did that. I'm going to leave you a link where you can get the Eyedropper extension. So I go ahead and I click on the Eyedropper, and then I will click pick color from web page. And then let's say that I wanted this color right here, this color. So as you can see at the very bottom of my screen, I am taking a look at the RGB, which is 0, 191, 255. Okay, that's the actual color that I want, right? So I already clicked on it, and it gave me all the information. So as you can see here, you have the HEX also value on it, the HSL and the RGB. So what I'm going to use, let's use the HEX, easier. So I'm going to copy this information. Let's go back to CSS, to my CSS code, and I am going to add a background color just to show you that it works super fine. Okay, and I'm adding this. It's already in here, as you can see. Anyways, I'm going to hit save, and now if I go back to my web page, I'm going to have a background in all H1 tags in that color. So I'm going to hit refresh, and boom, there it is. You see? And all because we use the eyedropper to see which was the HEX for this color right here. So it's a really great tool, and I highly recommend you to use it. It's going to definitely help you out a lot. So that was it for this video, everyone. I know it's a lot of information, but I'm pretty sure that the more that you use this, the easier it's going to get. Now, if you have any questions, as I said during the entire video, don't forget to leave them in the comment section below, and I will answer as soon as I can. Now, remember, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that way you can get notified every time that I upload a video. And as well, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And as always, remember that you can always ask Lixi. Bye, everyone. See you again in the next episode.